We're delighted to share your time and talent with St. Gabriel's Catholic School. Can you tell us who you are and your relationship to St. Gabriel's?
I'm Melissa Takamatsu, and my girls have been at St. Gabriel's since pre-K, and they are in 6th and 7th grade right now.
Wonderful. And we're really interested in understanding your career, the choice that you made in terms of a career, what inspired you to take those steps. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So when I was little, we had a really good group of friends, and one of the families that we were friends with, we would have dinner with them almost every weekend, and sometimes they would be out of town. And I said, well, where are the Takases? They were Mr. and Mrs. Takas. Well, they're at a convention in Florida, or they're at a convention in Hawaii, or they're at a convention in Washington, D.C. And I started thinking, this convention thing, this sounds like a really good gig. I want to do that when I get older. I want to go to conventions. And so I guess I forgot about it or didn't think about it, or my mom probably said that's not really a job. And I went to college and I got a degree in communications. And the first job I got was at the American Fire Sprinkler Association. And if you don't know, there's an association for everything. This association is for the people who install fire sprinkler systems. And I worked on their magazine, Sprinkler Age. And we had a convention. And I guess the first time I went, I realized, oh man, this is what I really like to do. And not only that, but I thought, oh, I could do this so much better. So I started taking classes at night at the community college while I was working to learn how to be a meeting planner. And it was a real job, and they have classes and certifications, and people are doing it. And then randomly, the lady that was doing our convention got fired, and they gave me the opportunity to do our big convention, and that was my first big break.
Wow. So what does a meeting planner or convention planner do?
Well, it's really very complicated, but I planned large conventions for thousands of people, and they had trade shows, and they had educational events, and then they had social events. So I worked with a team to set up all the exhibits. We had over 100 exhibitors. In our trade show, I worked with a food and beverage team to set up all the breaks and the food. I worked with an audiovisual team to make sure all the breakout educational sessions had what they needed for if they were going to show slides or have a movie or whatever. I had to work with my team to get together all the educational materials and mostly just register them, take their money, make sure they were registered for the classes that they wanted to take. And then on site, making sure everybody worked together to make every day happen all day long.
The closest thing I can think of is something like a big wedding.
Or even school, or a camp, a summer camp, and you got to choose your sessions, and you know there were 4 or 5 sessions in a day, and you're going to do art your first session and science your second session, and it's that kind of coordination, right? You got your teachers, you got what you're going to learn, and then you're going to have a break and maybe go to snack time, and maybe one session they're going to film you and do robotics, and so all those pieces that go into summer camp for a week for what you want to do is really what it's like.
That's still a lot of things to juggle and to get right. Does anything ever go wrong, or do people ever want to make a change?
Yeah. So we've had speakers. A big keynote speaker was going to come, a former NFL football player, and his plane couldn't land. We've had the president of the company decided to unveil a big announcement that we didn't know anything about, and we had to scramble, things like that. Or we had 9/11. We had a conference scheduled for September 12th, 2001. So
wow.
Yeah.
What do you do when?
Well, you just figure it out. You have contingency plans. You have cancellation insurance. You have good communication networks in place. And that's the kind of thing where you realize, oh, we need to get an emergency phone number for everybody who registers. Right. And you learn that the hard way, but then you start to build those things into your registration process.
Great. Can tell us a little bit about how a big event or a big meeting impacts a local economy?
Okay, so that's a really good question. When you're shopping to find a city to take your meeting, they court you because they want you to bring all these thousands of people into their town. So they'll fly you out, they'll put you up in a nice hotel, they'll show you their city, and it can be a really fun trip. And I like to travel, so that was a really fun perk for me. But it's really a big business. Like Austin, for example, when they can land a big convention, that brings thousands of people, and they eat in our restaurants, and they take our taxis, and they get hotel rooms, and which employs all the people in the hotel. It's a big boost for an economy to bring a meeting to a town.
So a music festival like South by Southwest or ACL are
Huge.
great examples of big events, and somebody has to plan those meetings, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it takes an army of people to put that together.
How would you describe the personal traits or behaviors that are best suited to being successful as a meeting planner?
Well, you have to be organized, and you have to be a good communicator, because you have to get a team together, and everybody needs to know everything that's going on, because if you just keep it all in your head, it's not going to do a bit of good. And you have to be calm. There's a saying, never let them see you run, because things happen and you need to make them right. And also, I think customer service, knowing what the goals of the meeting are, and helping shape the whole event to meet those goals. I mean, are you trying to roll out a new product? Are you trying to educate your group on something? Are you trying to make everybody feel good? You kind of have to know the group, know your boss and who you're planning the meeting for, and really make sure that the event fulfills its goals.
Great. And is there anything else that you would like to share with the St. Gabriel students?
Just when they're maybe at school, or when they go to a camp or something, to think about all the little pieces behind the scenes that have to go into making that a successful day. And so instead of maybe complaining about something, or thanking somebody for something that you liked about an event that you go to, because it takes a lot to put on things, and think about the people behind the scenes.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing your time and talent with St. Gabriel's.
Sure.
Bye-bye.